Hello and welcome to another Escape from Tarkov video. I haven't made one in a while. I'm going to talk about that at the end if you're interested. But today we're going to be going over the best spots for Shooter Born in Heaven on all of the 4 maps. Just basically spots where you should be able to get some decent long-range headshots. If you aren't familiar with Shooter Born in Heaven, basically you have to get 3 100-meter headshots on 4 different maps, which is Woods, Interchange, Customs, and Shoreline. I hope I've got them right, it's been a little while. But yeah, so the first map we're going to go over is Interchange, which I think is probably one of the harder maps to get all the kills for. On the one hand, it does have a bigger range than most of them, but on the other hand, it's a mixture of outdoor and indoor fighting, which can be difficult to get those long range shots because everyone wants to be indoor. One of the first spots I would recommend on Interchange is this position here, where you have overlooking, it's on the highest floor in the mall, directly it's like I would consider it the main entrance in the middle, and up there you can see out to the expanse of everyone coming in, but you can also look backwards all the way down the mall, and if you get someone at the length of the entire shopping complex, you should get a 100-meter headshot there. That should be an easy place, and there should be a lot of traffic moving in and out of the areas you've got covered. I would look upwards and out to the end of the map at the beginning and the end, and then inwards afterwards. The second spot I would think for Interchange is the top of the power station, simply because you've got such a massive range in coverage out on the outside of the map, and I'm always, people have to go here now to turn on the power to access some of the best places inside of Interchange, so you're going to get a lot of people heading down these roads towards your position, and that means they should generally be running kind of in a straight line. Those green dots on the map as well represent the spawns, so if you get anywhere near the spawn at the beginning, get yourself up there and make sure you're staring towards these spots in case someone's coming running straight at you and you can just down them. It's a quick and easy kill. I definitely think the update to make the power station the point of interest here really made that spot more viable. Now the third spot is kind of on the opposite side to where that last spot was, and it's this tower. Now, the only reason I don't really like this tower, and I don't think it's as good as the other two, is you are really exposed. And most of the times when I'm trying to get a shot on someone here, it's really easy to find out where the shot's coming from, and then you just get picked off before you can really, land the shot. So if you get into a firefight in this position, I would just, advise getting out of the tower. But if you can get that shot, like it shows on that map, you've got really good coverage of the back end and the top of the shopping complex. So if you're in that spot, you're going to have great visual on people coming in and out of the shopping centre, going to and from extracts. I think it's a good spot to potentially pick up a few stragglers at the end of the game as well. Now this last spot might be a bit unfair for some people, because a lot of people might consider this extract camping. Personally, I think all is fair in Tarkov, and from here to the extract, it's probably going to be the easiest way to get a headshot because most people sit still on the extract. Now, I'm not advocating extract camping, but if you've got, if you're up there waiting for people to run in or run out and you're not strictly extract camping and somebody does happen to lay down on the extract and they're not in full cover, it's a kind of, a 6 and 2, 3 situation. It's Tarkov at the end of the day. The aim of the game is to kill people. Now we're going into Shoreline, which is a bit of a weirder map because there's a lot of area in Shoreline that is basically just points on the map and no man's land in between. So this is at the power station, and it was a really foggy and nasty day that I decided to record that on. But if you just from the bottom of this sort of resort area, where that little decking area is, you can just aim straight down at the power station, and tons of people go there to check the key spawns to kill scavs. You might have to wiggle it because it might not be exactly 100 meters, but I think it's a good position to check because it's definitely a place where more people just stand in cover trying to fight the scavs. Now the second one I'd recommend is looking over Scav Island, because I think you're going to have no problem finding people that go over to that island, and also if they run over, they've downed a scav and they want to loot them, you've got a target that's sat there vacant, not doing anything and not moving. It makes the shot easier to get. I think one of the most important things about these spots is that when you're lining up the shot, if the target isn't moving, it makes getting that instant one headshot that much easier. Because if the dude's running around and you're trying to get that one headshot over 100 meters, it just makes it so much harder and so much longer to complete the quest if you're going after moving targets. Now, the third spot is on top of the resorts, and the two places I'd recommend looking is straight down on the other side of the resort, on the other roof, and you can aim down here to the right to the bus depot, but you can also, which will be in an amazing shot, all the way down at the power station. It's a longer shot and it's more difficult to make, but if you get it, you're definitely within range. One of the things I would like to point out, that anywhere you can snipe and shoot at a target from these spots, they can also shoot at you. So if you're in a position where you can get an advantage on these spots, these are a great place to look at as well. So if you can't get your spot because there's already someone there, find out where you can make that work, you know what I mean? Get yourself some distance and just use this spot. It's like somewhere to hunt for as well as people in these positions. Now the last spot on Shoreline would be this part just up from the the petrol station. And one of the great things about this is that Sanitar does sometimes spawn down there in the little port area. So if you happen to get a PMC who's killed Sanitar, that's going to take him a while to loot. You know, he might even be in the middle of fighting the boss. So you've got plenty of time to wait him out to get the best opportunity to take your shot. That's what I'd recommend. And now we're heading over to Customs, which I think is the most difficult map to do this on, simply because of how smaller it is in comparison. It's a bit easier now that we've got the expansion, and that it was reduced from like 150 meters, or it's 125 meters down to 100. But this spot I stole from Deadly Slop because I think it's a fantastic spot. You get a lot of people sit up there trying to snipe down into the gas station, especially when Rashala is around, and they're stood completely still. And you're almost completely covered in that area. So I definitely recommend jumping up there at the start of the game and waiting to see if anyone does go to try and take out the Scav boss. Because they're going to be spending a lot of time standing still. They're going to be completely preoccupied with Scav boss. It just gives you tons of opportunity to take your time and get that headshot. And the next spot after that is actually really close by. It's literally just out the door and to the right of it. Now this spot doesn't offer you the same protection as the previous spot, but it does give you much more flexibility, because you can aim all the way down to the cut through, you can aim even down to the right behind yourself, you can actually hit into the gas station itself. It just gives you much more coverage on where you can aim. It is much riskier because you can get hit from anywhere, but the aim of the game is to get the shot and being safe and not getting the headshot. You know what I mean? It's like defeats the point of doing the quest, because the point is to get those headshots, so sometimes you're going to have to take a little risk to get those shots. Now on to the next spot, basically just on top of this train track bridge. It's a really high trafficked area, so you tend to get a lot of people running towards you. You're really gonna, this is probably one of the riskiest spots because there's so many people will just travel up and down the little pathways on the top and the bottom. But you will try to catch a lot of people coming from the left side of the map to get to their extract point. So it might be, if you're struggling finding people in the other spots, try here. Now on spot 4, the construction site. Now I technically started this guide before the expansion happened, so there's probably a better spot next to the expansion. But I find this is a perfect spot because you've got such a long range across that bridge. And I'm always going across that bridge. As soon as you spawn on the left hand side of the map and you've got to get to the right, if you spawn down on the bottom, one of the quickest ways is across that bridge. So I think it's a great place to keep an eye on. Now one of the things I really like about the construction spot is how many scavs are nearby. Scavs are a great indicator of where PMCs are because they invariably always get into a fight. And if you just watch where the scav's shooting, 9 times out of 10 you can find the PMC it's fighting. Now the next spot is on these red tins. And I love playing this area. It's a shame because this area is such a fun area to fight in, especially when you can get that height advantage. But it's hardly ever really used because at the beginning of the map, people are rushing to the centre of the map, and at the end of it, they're rushing out of it. So it's kind of difficult to utilise that spot to its fullest potential. But I do believe it's worth trying out, because if you wait there long enough from the beginning of the game, somebody's going to come from the other end of the map. So chances are you will run into at least one or two PMCs making their way from the right hand side to the left hand side. And now we're heading into woods, which I believe is probably the easiest map to get the kills on, for two reasons. One, it's great for sniping, and two, it's great for sniping. Now it sounds stupid, but if it's good for you sniping, it's good for other people sniping, and if other people are sniping, they're stood still. And as we've already covered, if they're stood still, they're that much easier to nail in the head. So the best positions in woods are those areas that overlook the other good sniping spots. Like this position on the left hand side, you've got a great coverage. You're wide out in the open and you probably will die here a couple of times, but you only need to get 3 kills and that's it. But you get so much coverage with this area, it's fantastic. And I think another great point for this left hand side is I never expect to get into a fight on the left hand side of woods. I just don't. It's in the middle and on the right hand side where I expect to get into a fight. Now spot 2 is the really obvious sniper rock, and this would be the first place I would look approaching woods and the lumberyard to get a 100-meter headshot on someone, because everywhere you see down there can shoot this rock, and it's really easy to tell if someone's up there because 9 times out of 10 Sturman will be cracking off. It's a great spot to get into, but it's one of those spots where I think you're better to be looking at that spot rather than being in that spot, because 9 times out of 10 people are looking at you, not the other way around. I find a lot of people that go up there, especially when I go up there, die in that spot rather than get many kills there. Now the next spot is the spines, especially the very tip of it, because the very tip of spines you can see into lumberyard, but you can also see up the left hand side as well, all the way to the extract. Now I think it's a great spot because if you get lucky and someone stands out in the open trying to get a shot on someone in lumberyard, you can take advantage of that. The only difference is you're going to have to take a lot of really long range shots here, and be careful of people trying to get to the even top end of spines. If you go south on the map, those rocks you can get on top of where the sniper scav usually is. Just be careful of anyone being up there as well. It's a very popular spot to get into, especially late in the wipe when people have the strength level to get there. Now this spot is a great spot for the end of the games when the left hand side is pushed over to the right and you've got a lot of people with their backs to you running away from your position. It just makes it easier to shoot at someone running away than towards you, because if they're running towards you, you're going to get into a fight. If they're running away, you've got time to, take your shot. And another great thing about this spot is that the people generally end up fighting with the scavs at Scav House. And there's not a lot of people run around and gun in this game. They usually stand still, put a couple of shots down range, move, shoot again. So your best bet is when they're standing still trying to take out that scav, you pop them instead. Wait until they're completely vulnerable. Don't know why I was checking the flash drive there, but this is another decent spot as well. Now this spot, it overlooks a very large selection of the map. With it being down by the waterfront, there's a lot of people run down here for quests, and especially on that pier that's just to the left there, you saw it briefly. I've killed people actually down on that right hand side. They were training I was up on spines and they were training strength. They were beating on each other's legs, 2 hatchlings, and I just started putting shots down range, and I popped his mate's legs and he just left his mate behind, just let us, take me time and kill him. It was just some of the funniest stuff I've ever done on this game. But the best thing about that spot is you can get that whole left hand side of the map and you're relatively covered from people coming from the right. If to get a shot on you, chances are they're going to have to make a noise getting around and near you. So it's always it's always wise to have contacts in this situation, because generally you're going to be sniping alone. But that's going to be it for this part of the guide. There's just some good spots to keep an eye out for. That's the main issue with Shooter Born in Heaven, is map knowledge and getting into positions where you can take your time and get those headshots rather than rushing because you don't know where they're going or they don't know where they're coming from. This is just that advantage in the game. And as for the reason why I haven't been uploading a lot lately, is basically I mentioned in a few videos ago that I got a new job. Well, not only did I get another new job after that, I got another new job. So I've had like 3 jobs in the past 2 months, 3 months. Basically because I applied for a lot of jobs when I lost my last job. And then I got offered a good one, and then a better one, and then an even better one. So kind of just steamrolled, so I didn't have a lot of time to make videos. But now the United Kingdom's back in lockdown, you know, I've had time to work on this one. And I'm going to be honest, I've been playing less Tarkov. I've been playing a lot of RuneScape, I've been playing a lot of Hell Let Loose. And I've been struggling to come up with video ideas, so if there's anything you need help with in this game, you want a guide for, let me know in the comments down below, and also let people know good spots that you've been using for Shooter Born in Heaven, because it's a difficult quest for new players. I hope you've been having a good day, hope you enjoyed this content, and I'll see you next time.